Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? I'm hoping incredibly well. I've just got to sort out a couple of issues that might be present with my mic before we get into it. But yeah, I hope we're all good. We are here to have a little bit of discussion, a little bit of a spooky, scary discussion, which makes me a bit sad. And it's specifically surrounding Manor Solomon. We've seen little bits of news around our good friend Manor. And they're not the most reassuring for us. So I thought I'd have a little bit of a deep dive into what's going on with the Solomon situation and some of the alternative players that Leeds have been looking at, which I think is going to be quite important because no matter what, we're probably going to be signing someone to play on the wings this coming season. Whether that is Solomon or whether that is someone else, we'll have to find out, but it's going to be somebody. Anyway, so this specific bit of news is specifically, I keep saying specific, around Solomon. But before we dive into all of that, I hope you've subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, that would be massively appreciated because for every subscriber that I have on the day of the Leeds Creator Cup, I'll say full-time at the Creator Cup, I'll be donating 1p to Prostate Cancer UK, which isn't a lot per person, but it starts to add up, and it's just one little click down here, and then that adds up massively. And also get your tickets for the Leeds Creator Cup because it is going to be a massive event. People are flying in from Dubai, Italy, Ireland, lots of people from Ireland. It's going to be a good day, and I'm watching. I'm keeping an eye on the sales, so you better be there. Also, I think I made the agreement that if we don't sign Simicast by the date of the Content Creator Cup, I do as many press-ups and sit-ups as I had sold tickets. So that could be a problem. Anyway, on the Spurs thing. Spurs have gotten rid of Ange Postecoglou. He is out the window. He's gone, kaput. No more Postecoglou Spurs, which is a little bit of a weird one. He managed to win their first trophy in a long time. Yes, they didn't do too well in the league, but in my opinion, that's because at that point they had stopped particularly caring about the league because they were like, "Oh, just get rid." We are good indeed. But yeah, they've gotten rid. And this means that they're going to transfer over to a new manager. There's lots of different names floating around in the ether around who is potentially going to be going to Spurs. But one of the sort of main lines of thought that we've seen are a lot of the players that were out on loan, unavailable, are potentially going to get a little bit of a chance under a new manager. Are potentially going to be like, well, let's have a look at you and see if you're any good, especially the players that impressed last season. So, for example, Manor Solomon. Ange, I don't know if he has officially gone yet, but I've heard from many different directions that unofficially he's basically out of the window. I can hear myself. I'm going to stop doing that now. So that's going to be a thing that we're going to have to be a little bit afraid of, and we're going to have to be a little bit careful with. And with Manor Solomon potentially getting an opportunity at Spurs, that means that Leeds are far less likely to retain him. So this has been brought up by, for example, I know that we don't necessarily like them because they're kind of not the best of people, but The Sun tend to be quite good when it comes to football journalism, and they're saying that Tottenham squad set to be boosted by the return of a league winner who hasn't played for the club in nearly 2 years. That screams Solomon to me, and that screams that they are going to sort of focus in on that. The email can be the ticket. Effectively, we just need like a proof of purchase on the door. So if you're able to get the email, that'll do it. Beyond that, it's fine. We've got a list of people. So if you are on that list, that will all be good, and it's fantastic. But with the Solomon thing in mind, you then have to consider what the alternatives sort of look like at Leeds United. And there are a few. So, for example, Leeds have been linked quite heavily with Paixão in recent days, which is a good thing for us because the fact that Paixão is available on the market looking for a move to a Premier League club says that there is another left winger potentially thinking, well, I could find my way to somewhere like a Leeds United. And that is a very good position for us to be in because it applies that little bit more pressure to other clubs around us. So the likes of a Burnley and a Sunderland will also need to be making moves to try and keep up with us, and we will need to be making moves to try and keep up with the likes of a West Ham or a who was in the bottom half of the Premier League last season. I was spent so long just like honed in on the Championship. Let's have a quick look. Bottom half of the table. I know that. Yeah, there we go. So like a Wolves, like a West Ham, like an Everton. Probably not a Palace. Although Palace, I think, could have some pretty big problems going into next season. But looking at Paixão, that would be a good deal to get done. Solomon would still be ideal for us, I think, but we'll have to find out. We can have a little bit more sort of conversation about that. That was the initial opening bit of news. Solomon not necessarily on his way to Leeds United, likely to get an opportunity at Spurs. If that does happen, Leeds will not get the opportunity to sign him. If that doesn't happen, then that's fine. But we're just going to sort of descend into general Q&A conversation vibes. The only issue with not getting Solomon is I feel like that would mean that any other deal that we get done in his place would be more expensive. That's where I get a little bit scared. So, for example, if it isn't Solomon and if it is Paixão, then we're looking at spending 40 million euros instead of probably at most 15 to 20, which means that it puts a bit of a squeeze on all the other positions, which it's a little bit scary. Anyway, I've done too much not reading through the chat for the early stages of this stream, and you guys know that I like a little bit of a natter. I like reading the chat. So, hello, Russ. Got your tickets, looking forward to it. I'm very, very glad. I'm also looking forward to that. Looks like you're doing them. Looks like I'm doing what? I don't. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know. Hey everyone, hope all is well. Doing pretty damn well, Matty. I will talk about your thing in a little bit. I was just trying to get through the early bits. Imagine me doing press ups on the 20th, on the 21st. We said no. It will be across multiple streams that I end up doing them, or across a single video or a single nightmare stream. But it won't be just like I'm doing them on the day of the Creator Cup, because that sounds like hell. I'm very, very glad. Welcome in, Luke. Not heard on TV yet. Levy's been back a week off holiday. Things still happen though. Like if you are on holiday in the world of football, you're not on holiday, especially during the transfer window and when all the market is happening. And on this one, with the retained list not being dropped yet, this is part of what makes me think that he's almost certainly on the way out, because that's something that a manager has a fairly big say in. And if he's not had any say in that regard, then it puts a little bit more pressure on. Like Ben White, Solomon's not a Leeds United player. As much as he said he loves the club at the top of his voice on the bus parade, he's now a player and demands Solomon will hedge his bets. Yeah, probably. I get that. And we can say it's all hot air and nothing certain, but in theory, nothing in the world of news at all is certain until it's been put down on paper. The thing that Elon Musk mentioned on Twitter yesterday is in theory hot air, but it still matters, you know? Casa Bottler is a devastating terminology. Don't think the 49ers are convinced with Solomon for the fee Spurs want. With Premier League pulled us better out there. They probably are better out there, but I feel like as much as it's a fair argument that Solomon is probably not the cheapest of options, he's not going to be the most expensive either, because you can look around the world of football and the number of players that will just break the bank is ridiculous. It's nuts. Paixão would be the dream. Other options are Christos Solis or Dylan Bakwa at Strasbourg, both better than Solomon, both about 20 million. I don't know. I'm going to have to have a quick look. Let's whack FB Ref open and have a look at these players. Because this is one of those areas where I'm a little bit less certain than I should be. Solis, not bad, but then again, Brugge means it's not the best of opposition. And the other alternative was Dylan Bakwa. To be fair, Bakwa quite good, but he's also more of a fullback than a winger, or can play in midfield. This guy does a lot of stuff, doesn't he? He's all over the shop. What a guy! 5 million release clause, Kepa, 1 year left. No shot Kepa's only got. No way. A £5 million release clause for Kepa. I don't see him making that move though, because he's proven that he's not super happy being a backup. Michael, hello. He's been back home in Australia as well. That's fair, yeah. I do also quite like Ange, because he's one of those players that likes playing attacking football and is completely unapologetic about it. There's too many people that, like, run their team as sort of some efficient machine and is like, we desperately need to do what we can to win, and we can't concede goals. That's scary. No, just play in like a passionate, fun way, and then you'll be in a position where everything sort of goes in the right direction. That would be a fucking nightmare. I thought Spurs had stiffers on Joe, but they didn't. If they don't want Manor, I doubt they'd try it on with the price. That's the question. Already have a replacement in the ranks coming back to the club. No, thank you. I don't think anyone actually wants Jack Harrison. If a guy called Zach Harrison came in and was just better than Jack, that would be beautiful. I would take that every single day of the week. But the likelihood of that feels fairly minimal. Also, if you haven't yet, I'd hugely appreciate you popping a like on the stream. Definitely helps the channel, make sure that things keep pushing in the right direction. Which, at the end of the day, if more people are shown the video, then more people subscribe, and the more people subscribe, the more money is going to Prostate Cancer UK at the end of July, which would be wonderful to have you all on board. I think one of the best bits about Pie Show is he's not just a signing for now, he's a signing for years to come. So that would be quite good. This is where I disagree, because I wouldn't call him a top Brazilian. I think you can maybe make that argument if we're linked with Rodrigo from Real Madrid or something. But I think Paixão, whilst a very good player, is in the position that Rafinha was in when we signed Rafinha. He's in the position of not quite being there yet. But he's en route. But he's not quite made it yet. And he needs that step up in order to make it in the end. Yeah, this is the point. We got Rafinha, and I think they're in the exact same spot here. Please, if you haven't and want to help a great charity, donate or buy a ticket for the Creator Cup on the 20th of July. Yes, please do so. I did the maths on a stream the other day, and of everyone watching the stream right now, there is roughly a 1 in 8 chance that at some point in your life you will have prostate cancer, which is not the least spooky of positions to be in. And whilst it is a treatable illness, it's an illness that needs to be researched more and needs to be looked into more, and is one of the most common forms of cancer. So if you fancy, hop along to the Leeds Creator Cup, because all of the money from tickets is going directly to the charity. All of the costs and stuff are being paid for by a range of sponsors, which means that it's going to be everything that you put into either the donation pot or into the end of this sentence or into the ticket revenue is just going right to what's it called? Right to the charity. There we go. It's Cloud9 signing. Rafinha was £1 million. Yeah, he was. And that's why this would cost twice as much, which isn't cheap. But this is being somewhat realistic, because looking around, West Ham have had some chunky signings in recent years. So let's have a quick look. West Ham United. Signings in recent years include the likes of, where's he gone? Kudus, for example, from Ajax, looking ridiculously good, incredible footballer, and he picks West Ham, who most seasons are sort of hovering. They're not smashing it in the Premier League. They're just sort of vibing-ish. So there's no way that we're not getting at least some big moves done. Thank you very much, Wayne, by the way, for gifting a membership. It's $2.99 a month if you fancy becoming a member. This membership specifically went to Bremner's Ghost, and you get a bunch of videos and stuff early. So specifically on the charity walk, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be recording some vloggy stuff throughout the day, editing that together as I go, and then on the evening, once I've finished the walk for the day, I'm going to get that uploaded. It's going to be available for members on the evening, and the next morning it's going to be available for everyone else. So channel membership is going to be a good vibe for the next week or so. On this one, we can get moves done, but in terms of FFP, it's best to not announce them yet, because the start of the next financial window is on the 1st of July. Which means that if we're able to put any significant costs back to the next financial period, then that massively benefits us by mainly making sure that we're not bumping into some quite significant issues. 1 second. Oh, bollocks. That's annoying. Anyway. Where are we? There we are. Unless a team like Arsenal goes for him, we're in with a shout. Rafinha's his idol, and who did he play for? Is Rafinha his idol, or are they both just Brazilian? Like, Rafinha's only like 3 years older than him, I think. I don't know. Yeah, there is the London thing. I did forget the London thing. But yeah, you can say it's bollocks all you like, but at the same time, if you breach it, you can get points deductions. And when you're in our position where last season the teams in the exact same position as us got absolutely pummeled week in, week out, you can say it's bollocks, but not necessarily. Okay. I'll have to have a quick look. There is this though, yeah. Like, we need to be selling the project, and we need to sell the idea of coming to Leeds means that there is a step up ahead of you, and you just need to help us through that step up. We can mutually benefit one another, us and the players, and that'll get us all headed in the right direction. If that doesn't seem viable at any point, then that's fine. But I had a lovely conversation with someone who told me that revenue was relevant to PSR. That's not how that works at all. Jesus. It's not though. Because again, let's have a look at last season in terms of transfers. The last 2 seasons, in fact. When we were dancing on the edge of PSR and we needed to make a very, very big sale before the 1st of July, which we expected at that point it would probably be Somerville. It turned out not to be Somerville because a bid didn't come in time. Instead, it ended up being Archie Gray. But let's have a look. Leeds United. We'll go, is it current season transfers or all transfers? I don't know. Books. Rodon, 12 million euros. Keeping in mind this is in the Championship. Your overall TV revenue for the year is about £10 million. Laji Ramazani, 8 million euros. Jaden Bogle, 6. Autanaka, 4. Schmidt, 3. We got Kearns in. Season before that. Let's have a quick look. For some reason, I've opened the wrong tab. Like, you can't pretend that the 49ers aren't interested in investing in the club. Because, I mean, let's look at everything. Let's look at the fact that they are rebuilding the West Stand and the North Stand. Is it North? Is it South? I can't correct. North, yes. But those aren't small tasks to take on. Those are pretty damn big. So whilst it might feel good to be like the owners aren't spending anything, that's why we're struggling. 1, we're not struggling. 2, they are spending. The fact that they've not done it in the first 6 days of a transfer window that wouldn't normally be open at all is only open for the Club World Cup. It's a bit wild, and I think the fact that we're all being a bit scared over absolutely nothing is incredibly silly, but it suits your name, so that's fine. I have sort of moved location. This is the wall that I was facing previously. That is the wall that I was against previously. So that way is a nice blue wall with a bunch of displays and stuff. It's not got the bookcase anymore. I've dismantled the bookcase because I'm reworking my office a little bit. But yeah, it's not moved location because I think my chair is in exactly the same place. But I've just turned things around because I want to make a few little edits, you know? Mind you, a certain content creator told me I didn't know what I was talking about earlier this season when I was talking about getting more cash via share issue once I give up with some people. Who was that? That's a bit of a weird one. Like, you are a finance person. That's what you do. That's like being linked to Tanganga at Millwall for a pot 2 million fee. I thought it was 1.2 or something like that as like a release clause. I don't know how I feel about that. Yes, I think I agree. I don't think any team will pat twice the amount that the player is worth at this present time. What? Pay, that's what you mean. Yep, there we go. Not expecting anything till the last week of the window like most years. That's the thing. In recent seasons, we've done quite a bit relatively early. We just seem to be in a spot of being naturally quite spooked. 18th fixtures come out. Season kicks off 16th of August. Tranquilo. Yeah, I think 18th I am going... Okay, on the 18th I will try to do a live stream when fixtures come out, which is 9 in the morning. However, on that day I am working 2 matches, which would see my workday finish at 4 a.m. on the 19th. So I might do that, have a nap, and then go again. Unsure. Well, yeah, you can. But the fact that we've just not announced it doesn't mean that we're not having these conversations, and that seems to be people's default. We haven't signed anyone yet. So 1.2, I think he'd make a good squad player on the cheap. Maybe for me. I'm not as certain. He's another one where I think there is probably talent available elsewhere that will do an equivalent job. But yeah, I think he's worth a look, is the way that I put that. Isn't it said that the first match for the Championship winners against the Premier League winners? I don't think that happened last season, I'm not sure. The club will have players lined up ready for the first, but why ruin the books for the sake of a month? Because people on Twitter are getting impatient. And you know that if people are impatient on Twitter, then they're just going to panic and things will start to spiral. And we all love when things start to spiral. Very, very sensible, very, very normal. Right. Let's see if there are any other bits of Leedsy news. I'm going to stream for about half an hour this time out, which is another 8 minutes or so, which isn't too bad. I don't really see this. And this is because at the start of this stream, I'd specifically explained that Manor Solomon was likely to stick around at Tottenham for a bit. So they could have a little bit of a look at him because they're likely to have a new manager going into the next season, which means the manager is going to want to take a look at everybody, and that includes Manor Solomon. That's why it is entitled Leeds Assets out on Manor Solomon, because as far as a lot of people can tell, it looks like he's going to be sticking around there. And we say this, but like owning a football club in general is basically gambling. Like very, very few owners make money in football club ownership. And doing so is sort of a miracle. But that's the thing. They have always been a little bit methodical. They've always taken their time. Newcastle just announced their return list. Ooh, let's have a quick look. And also have a quick look at the like button below the stream and subscribe. I'm trying to get those smoother, but it doesn't necessarily work, does it? Newcastle retained list. Okay, Wilson leaving, Roddy, Lloyd Kelly, Jamal Lewis. I'm not super convinced that any of those are the right choice for us. And they've opened discussions with Callum Wilson to see if they could agree a new contract anyway, which makes it a little bit tougher to sign him because we're now competing financially with Newcastle for a player that isn't going to make our first team, because I don't reckon that works. Yeah, everyone was saying that we should have signed Tom Cannon, and Tom Cannon was shit, and Sheffield United didn't get promoted, and we did. So that's why I'm kind of happy with it. If the window's open, it's open to everyone. It's a worldwide open one. It's not just Premier League clubs. The way that they did it was there were clubs specifically in this instance. There was a Real Madrid that wanted certain players in, Trent Alexander-Arnold. So they basically went to FIFA like, can we have a mini window just to get a couple of extra players in? And that's why it exists, but it exists for everyone. Sold record players, had record shirt sales, spent zero in January, buy another club. Well, it's a complex one, isn't it? because we had like a financial black hole coming down from the Premier League. And that isn't the most healthy of financial situations for a club to be in, because we needed to look after FFP and all that kind of stuff, and we were entirely unable to because of the mess that was left by Victor Orta. We needed to make a lot of sales, so we did. And that means that I don't think we will have made a loss last year, but you got to consider wages at the same time are a massive expense. Shirt sales, I'm not sure how that deal works, but I'm fairly sure that Adidas keep the majority of that and we get a cut of it. I'm not certain. Yeah. Financially, the club is looking in a pretty damn good position, but I think that is a result of being financially clever in the past couple of years. Can't wait to see next year's work. It's going to be blue and yellow like the old Strongbow one. I saw that. That's quite fun and interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. You can only miss out on someone if you made an official bid for them and not get them. Better to not worry about links. Okay. Yeah, but I run a Leeds YouTube channel, man. I can't not talk about these things. And in terms of things that I can't not talk about, one, Matty over at Imagine Not Being Leeds has released a charity single for Andy's Man Club. I'm going to try and find a link to it if I can, but I'm currently struggling to. If if Matty is currently still watching, never mind, I found it. There we go. Then you can get it here. All of the proceeds from that are going to Andy's Man Club, which is a male suicide prevention charity in the UK. So if you're able to, that'd be absolutely fantastic. And similarly helping Andy's Man Club is the Square Balls Charity Walk, which is coming up in the next few days, starting on Monday, going all the way to Friday, starting in Newcastle, going all the way to Elland Road. More than 120 miles over 5 days, and all of the money is going to Andy's Man Club. Hopefully, we're able to make a fairly significant amount of money, because if not, then I will have killed my feet for nothing. So if you can, I've popped the link in the chat now. Donate. That'll be massively appreciated, and it'll get everything pointing in the right direction. If you haven't yet as well, I would hugely appreciate you picking up a ticket for the charity match, which is happening on the 20th of July, kicking off at 1 p.m. It's the Peacocks versus the Roses, Leeds Lightly versus Just Joe, but also a lot of creators on each side. It's going to be a fantastic day. If you live in or anywhere near Leeds, it would be brilliant to see you there. So yeah, ultimately though, I'm going to bring the stream to a close in a minute's time. However, I'm going to open up questions corner. If anyone has any more questions, I will answer one more, whatever it is, within the chat, and we'll have a little bit of a talk on that, and then I'll end the stream, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be nice. Oh, the next few days are going to be a nightmare. I hope I don't end up blistered to hell again, because that wasn't fun. After the first year, I had what was described by the person at the walk-in centre as severe ligament damage, which was quite good. But hopefully we don't end up with that again, because that would make a mess. That's not a question. But I hope you have a great walk and if you're okay at the end. I hope so. One player, let's say Leeds sign, I am going to go with Pai Xiao, just because he very much excites me. On this, we don't know yet. In theory, maybe, but it depends on the amount of tickets that we sell in advance. So to be certain that you can, I would firmly recommend you get a ticket, purely because that means that we can guarantee that people can get in, and it helps us to plan. We need to plan numbers for the amount of stewards. We need to plan whether or not we need to hire security people for the bar, primarily because if you have more than a set number of people and you're opening a bar, you need security there, which introduces its own fun little risk and worry, doesn't it? So yeah, if you can, I would massively appreciate you getting tickets ahead of the time, and then we'll see. But that's all I've got to say on all of that. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, pop a like on it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Again, for every subscriber, I'm putting 1p towards Prostate Cancer UK on the day of the charity match, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm going to see if anyone else is streaming right now, just to carry on the redirect love, keep the train going. No, there's nobody, but that's fine. Anyway, yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Ta-ra.